Hello and welcome to part two of the Blue Abroad Player of the Year video series award. We're crowning the champion. I don't want to do anything too special and, you know, give any suspense. It is my absolute honor to announce Sam Docherty as the 2022 Blue Abroad Player of the Year. It has been a phenomenal year for Doc for obvious reasons. This time last year, just about, on the channel, I'm here shaving my head. A lot of the fans shaved their heads. A lot of the players, all of them shaved their heads. And I think it was there that season 22 really began. The solidarity, we obviously had a real disconnect on all fronts at the footy club. And I think Doc's circumstance was a bit of a catalyst and a reminder as to life and the realities of what can happen and what does happen around the world. And, we all get so caught up in footy and the results and the performances. And sometimes that can take away from what's truly important. And I wasn't sure how high he would be in this table because I didn't, as I said in my previous video, I didn't watch the scores as a running tally. I didn't want any bias to come into my mind and make sure I was looking after this player or that player. I let it play out in its merits. And when I was tallying up the scores and at the end when Doc obviously finished on top, I actually smiled. It was really good. And the reality with the ratings is, the more games you play, the more chance you give yourself. And especially when you're rating between 1 and 10, 10 votes is significant. And if you miss 1 or 2 games, particularly towards the top of the table, it shows. But look, take nothing away. I think Doc rated elite in most of the main statistical categories, kicks, marks, handballs, meters gained, rating points, all of it. It was phenomenal. And to be honest, this time last year, I wasn't sure if it was playing one game. I thought, maybe if we get towards the back end of the year, maybe he'll be back for a game here or there just as a feel-good notion. But, it started in round 1. Amazing moment when he kicks that goal. We're all up and about. And he just continued. He continued to play at a very high level. And, he's now etched in a really interesting part of the club. He's now, I think Doc is the Simo, what Simo was, like the real emotional connection to a player. I thought before Simo retired was him. And I think Doc now takes that. For me anyway, he's the real emotional senior rock of the group. And I think he is a player that others would draw inspiration from whenever things aren't going their way. You look to the left or you look to the right, Doc's in the room, like, what are you going to complain about? And I think he just brings a real sense of, reality and purpose. And, don't even know the guy. Met him a few times, but it's just special to see him have the season that he's had. And want to congratulate him on winning this prestigious Blue Abroad Player of the Year award. So congratulations to Doc. Now, I'm going to take you through the top 10, bit of running commentary. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, as we go up, we've got Nick Newman. So Nick Newman, I actually thought he had his best year for the club this year. I thought it was the best year he had. Averaged a 7.5, had some really strong games early in the season, which, look, let's be honest, most of them did because we were so good. But just found a way to stay consistent. And it was really unfortunate that we lost him. He would have been a really critical piece for us in that final month. And I think it's no coincidence that we struggled a bit without him in the side. 18 games, really good return. Love having him at the club. He's tough. He's honest. He's a good clubman as well. So I thought it was a big positive. Matt Kennedy averaged 8.2. This was heartbreaking to see him miss the final 3 games. He was outstanding. He gives me hope for a guy like Paddy Dow. He gives me hope for some of these guys that have been on the list for a while and we haven't quite seen their best, because Kennedy was that guy. He was on the list for a while, couldn't crack in, wasn't fit enough, and I guess wasn't good enough to really impact at the level consistently. And he's really taken his game to that next level. Do I classify him as one of our best players? Yeah, definitely. I think he's I mean, I don't know where you grade him, A, B, C. I think we'll do that video at another time. But I think he had a really, really good year, and I think he should be pretty proud of himself. And just a disappointing way to end. Not really in his control, but we certainly missed him. Lewis Young, mate, this was a big surprise to me. I did not see this season coming. 19 games. I thought maybe mid-year he would debut and then sort of build towards a strong finish, and then next year would be the Lewis Young year. But nah, he's ready. Good to go. Quite a few tens, quite a few amazing performances. I think towards the end of the season, though, he had a really good game in round 22. In this patch here, around 18 to 21, he sort of started losing that confidence to mark the ball. We went back to punching everything. And look, it's a long year. A lot goes on, but I just think he's absolutely good enough. And I think, with another preseason, another layer of comfort at the footy club, I would hope he goes up another level. In fact, I know he will because of the way he applies himself. And he's got some serious attributes. And we do not need to worry about any hole left from the Liam Jones situation, because I think this guy is already better than what we already had. So love him. Fish, this is a big, big year. He played every game. And, coming into the season, there were worries about his body. Are the ankles going to hold up? He always seemed to have something go wrong where he would miss a chunk of the season. So I think he can definitely exit this season with his head held high. I thought he really elevated himself. This patch of form here, round 7 to round 10, that's the best. That's the best I've seen him play. Tough, tenacious. Also, his ability to play up the ground, look further ahead of the ground, make a decision and move the ground. I watched the Sydney game again, and that was him at his best. Seemed to lose that a little bit. Again, long season, our form dipped. I'm not sure what happened. I think probably his last month wasn't his best, could have been better, but ultimately I thought, the whole package of the season, I think he can definitely look at that and be proud. And the important part for him, I think, is to not get complacent with the year. Like, yes, he was solid. Yes, it was a career best year, but if he can just go up another layer, it's crucial. And I think he can really push himself into this, upper echelon bracket on the list. So pretty pleased with that. Jack Silvani, mate, nothing but love for Jack. Plays the right way. And I have this confidence. It's not complacency with him, because I'm confident that he's always going to bring it, whatever it is. He gets asked to play a role different, challenging, not normal and natural to what he is. And, he just does it, no fuss. Had a really, really strong season up until towards the end. Just dipped off a little bit. And to be honest, most of them dipped off towards the end. I mean, 0-4 speaks for itself. So, yeah, definitely another preseason needed. Is Jack going to go up another level? I hope so. What is his position moving forward? Don't know. It's just he's a Mr. Fix-It at the moment. He does a little bit of everything. But I thought he had a pretty good year. Charlie Curnow. Charlie Curnow, first of all, good to have him back. The fact that we got 22 games out of Charlie Curnow this season is mind-blowing to me. Obviously, wins the Coleman medal, starts round 1. I remember that round 1 game. He was nowhere to be seen. But, I mean, it's such a big occasion, and I wasn't sure what we were going to get from him. But this is as good a year as you could have hoped for from Charlie. So many 10s in here, so many great memories, and it's a real feel-good story. It's good to have him back. Tailed off a little bit towards the end, which was disappointing. But, again, the overall package was one of positivity. Saad, I'm a little surprised at this. When I didn't look at the ratings throughout the year at all, because I didn't want to put any bias into my mind. And I actually thought, if you had have asked me who's going to be in the top 3, I probably would have had Adam Saad before doing this video. But it is what it is. Is it going to be right or wrong? Who knows? There's going to be a lot wrong here. But he was outstanding for us. 21 games. And, he's a champion, All-Australian. I think he's going to go on to become a real champion for this club. The way he plays, the way he conducts himself, nothing but love and respect. And, yeah. All right, here we go. Here's your top 3. This was surprising to me, I must say. Very surprising. Again, before the video, if you had have asked me who's going to win this, I would have said Cripps. Let's just go through. You look at his first 6 games. He didn't get a rating when he got injured, and then obviously missed the week after. So his first 6 games here are unbelievable. Unbelievable. He was the best on ground, I thought. This should probably say 21 games played because he did start for the Gold Coast game, but whatever, it's semantics. Up until pretty much round 13, I thought it's the best we've ever seen. He tailed off a little bit, ever so slightly. I think with these player ratings, if you miss 1 or 2 games, especially at the top, it really counts for a lot. So I think the fact that he's missed these 2 games worth of ratings, I think will hurt him a little bit. But I just still think, I don't know, I still think he can win it. Maybe I was a little harsh towards these latter games of the season, but it remains to be seen. He was back to his best. I think this was the best season he's ever played. And the reason is because we won more games and he was instrumental in more wins. And, another All-Australian Blazer, super year. I thought he elevated himself with his leadership, has room for improvement to come, but overall it was solid. Sammy Walsh, this is freaky. Missed 2 games, obviously the first one and the last one, which was devastating, but always maintains a high level. Look at this. Always maintains a high level. Round 21, look, most of them got a pretty low score in round 21. That was very disappointing. That was the Adelaide game. But the standard that he sets for himself here is remarkable. Averages an 8.6 rating, play the 20 games. I mean, if he plays 22 games, he wins this thing. It's pretty straightforward. So well done to Sammy Walsh. And then the winner, Doc. I love this. I didn't expect this when I put it all together. I'm not going to lie. But I think this is a great notion as to how I do the player ratings, because I give weight and gravity to a player's situation, individual situation. And now Doc goes without saying what his individual situation was. This time last year was a tough time. Just after the season finished, we got the diagnosis. Playing one game, very similar to Charlie in that playing one game was a big deal. We didn't know what was going to happen. But the fact that he was able to play the 22 and get on with it and play at the level that he did, remarkable. So Sam Docherty is the winner of the 2022 Blue Abroad Player of the Year. Okay, that'll do it. Another season in the books for the player ratings. I want to give a very special few thank yous. First of all, to each and every one of you that commented, watched, contributed, helped me adjust the scores. You'll notice there are many times where the ratings were just, not here, not there, too high, too low. There's 22 players to rate every week. I'm not going to get them right. So the way in which we're able to discuss them and talk about it maturely and not with any personal attacks or anything like that. I know that online it can get a little bit personal. People take things really, really seriously, and they're very passionate about voicing themselves, especially when there's no profile photo. So that was great. The discussion was great. Thank you for those again that contributed. I got to give a shout out to my man Ugur who sponsored the award for the year. I appreciate that. And obviously, the last but certainly not least, Mark Sanders from Doing a Bit. This is the second year that he's sponsored the player rating series, mate. Thank you so much. It's a real honor to be able to partner with small businesses and help give them some exposure and have this relationship. So I appreciate your support, and I'm sure everybody who is aware of Doing a Bit is better for the message, and I think that's important. Doing a bit. What are you doing? What are you doing in this off season to better yourself? What are you going to be doing before round 1 that you're not doing right now that's going to help improve your life? So it's a great message. I love partnering with companies that have such a message, and I look forward to hopefully building on that relationship. But for now, off-season content continues. Thanks for being a part of it. Love you all very much, and go Blues.